Wednesday of the fifth week of Lent. First reading we get from Daniel. This is coming from chapter 3 of Daniel in the Old Testament, where we get the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they have refused over and over again to give in and do what King Nebuchadnezzar was asking them to do, which was to do just a little bit of idol worship, just a little bit of betraying the one true God that they knew that they were worshiping. And so King Nebuchadnezzar gets upset that they refuse to do this, and he decides to throw them in the fire. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answer him by saying, "There is no need for us to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If our God, whom we serve, can save us from the white-hot furnace, and from your hands, O king, may he save us. But even if he will not, know, O king, that we will not serve your God or worship the golden statue that you set up." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, here in the Old Testament, this is before Christianity, are making it very clear that they have the one God that they will worship and nobody else. Even if God will not save us, we still refuse to worship that golden statue because we know who the one true, real God is. This is such an excellent story if you are a Christian. In fact, if you're not a Christian, this is an excellent story for you to read as well if you want to see some foreshadowing of what's to come with Christianity. Believe it or not, here's how that passage ends. Nebuchadnezzar rose in haste and asked his nobles, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" So we know what happened. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got thrown into the fire for their disobedience to King Nebuchadnezzar, but their perfect obedience to God. And so they answer Nebuchadnezzar after he asks, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" "Assuredly, O king," they answered. "But," he replied, "I see 4 men unfettered and unhurt, walking in the fire, and the 4th looks like a son of God." Nebuchadnezzar exclaimed, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel to deliver the servants who trusted in him. They disobeyed the royal command and yielded their bodies rather than serve or worship any god except their own." The faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wasn't enough for King Nebuchadnezzar. He was not impressed with their steadfastness. He was not impressed with their loyalty. It just angered him more and more. So he gives them the penalty of throwing them into the fire. And yet the fire does not burn them. In fact, there seems to be another one with them. And he says the 4th looks like a son of God, an angel, right? A son of God. This is, I don't know what else, I don't know any other way to understand this than to say that this is pointing very directly to the way that God works. The way that God works is not by snapping his fingers and making the evil just disappear. The way that God works is he comes and fulfills the very meaning of that name, Emmanuel, that God is with us. He is standing there beside us in the fire. God does not make the evil deeds that men do go away, but instead he comes and joins us as we suffer those evil deeds of men. And in this case, the evil deeds of men do not prevail. The fire does not consume Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The fire does not consume them. So take heart. Be at least as convinced and converted as King Nebuchadnezzar, as bad a guy as he was. In the end, he sings the praises of the one God Most High, because God's method is to be near us and stand next to us as we suffer the difficulties of this world. That is the meaning of contemplating the stations of the cross. That is the meaning of looking at a crucifix. That is the meaning of constantly reminding ourselves of what it is that Jesus did for us. Because Jesus is God, and God has come to stand right next to us, the Son of God, right by our sides, in this world, in this fiery furnace, which will not get the last word. Amen.